Hello, myself Deepak, and today I will let you know one of the greater feature of Excel. Now, for that, I hope you have used Excel in for many different cases, for doing some calculations, for making charts, graphs, table. Okay. Now, what if to do some you want to do some storage, data storage? You, for example, are having an employee details and you want to store the data, whatever the, like, employee code, employee name, department, his employee type, and different things. Now, either you need two different softwares. One is a backend software and one is a front end software. Now, front end software you use to display a user form so that a person who is making entry have to know that what he has or she has to enter. Okay, and when they click on after entering, when they click on the save button, for example, the information should be saved in the backend with the help of a database. But you don't want to spend money on two different softwares. Now, in simple, you can use Excel also. But if I use Excel right now, it's showing in your screen like you have in one column you have employee code, in another column you have employee name, and so on. Entering information one by one in each and every row. As of now, it is blank. It will be fine. But when you have more records, of course, it will be very time consuming, and there are chances of miss that by mistake a person click while entering information, for example in this cell, they click on this cell, and information can be overwrite. Okay, and also you don't want a person who is entering the information can see all the records which are already added before. You don't want this thing also. So now how? But you want to use Excel. Now how you can use? You can take help of Excel VBA, with the help of which you can use Excel as a front end tool, and at the same time you can use Excel as a back end time and store the data whatever you entered in that form of Excel user form in the same Excel sheet. So how we'll do? Let's see. Now I've created this table. Okay. Now under developer tab, if you don't have this developer tab, I have already explained how to activate this. I have kept the link in the description. Please have a look. In the developer tab, you have Visual Basic. I've created this form, okay, in which I have created some text boxes. Like with help of this toolbox, I have dragged here a text box, a button, okay, a combo box, an option button, and a list box. How to show this option in this combo box or how to show this list in a list box, I've already explained in one of my video. I've kept that link for those also in my description. Please have a look. Now under add button, now basically what I have done, I've defined two variables, these two variables as in global variables, so that I can use these two variables under add and also under save without defining them again and again. Fine. Now let's see first what add button is doing. The name of the button I have given is add, and this click is basically a event that when this button is clicked, then what should be happen? Then this code should be run. Okay. Now here I've defined three variables. Then, of course, I want one more thing that of while entering the information, of course, like here I'm entering the information of employee. So there should be one unique record, or you can say one unique field through which it is easier for me to identify something. Like If employees are there, like of course you give some employee code to them. Now, if every time in I have just run it, every time I have to give manually employee code, it will be not easier for anyone to remember that what was the last employee code. Say for example, already 99 employees are datas are added. Okay, now new employee join. Of course, his employee code should be what? It cannot be from 1 to 99 because 1 to 99 is already used. So it should be automatically 100. So you can't remember this thing. So what I have done with the help of this add button, I'm remembering all those things. So basically, the system is remembering all those things and do the things for you. So you don't have to remember or you don't have to check the data first. That what was the last record. Okay, and of course, while entering the information, you can't click save without clicking on add. So if I click save right now without clicking add, you're seeing that you have having this dialog box. That first click on this add button so that you can add a new record. So because of that, what I have done, I have created one variable as in global save button active. So I have created that variable as in boolean. So I've then say that if add button is clicked, then save button active it should be true, else it will be false. And if you see in save button, I have written all the coding of adding the records, whatever is added in that form, in those text box, combo box, list box, should be added in the list in the Excel sheet when this save button active is true. Else, this message was displayed. Now, in the first go, what I have done, of course, if you're adding records continuously, one by one, so of course, when you click on add, if something is written on this previously or some options are selected in this drop down on this list box or option buttons are selected, those should be blank. Okay, so that's why I have done this thing that the employee code value should be blank, employee name should be blank, department name should be blank, country name should be blank, and if any option buttons are selected, those should be not selected. Fine. Now, this line. With the help of this line, what I'm doing basically, eh, no need for this thing. Okay. Now, with the help of this line, what I'm doing, sheet one. Now, my sheet name, this sheet is sheet one by default. Not this is not the name. Okay, not because of this name. Like when I've created this sheet, okay, I've changed the name this from this to this and I added another sheet because of that. This sheet becomes one. Let me change this sheet name also so that it will not uh, confuse you. List options. Okay. Now it will not confuse you. Now go to Visual Basic. Now, if you see the employee details, this employee details, this sheet is sheet one, and list options is list sheet two, and this is sheet two. Okay. So what I have done here, I say sheet one dot cells. Now, of course, cell is what in this sheet. This is a cell. This is a cell, or you can say this is a cell. Fine. Dot special shell in bracket. I have said Excel cell type last shell. So I moved to the last shell wherever till wherever the data was there. Okay, and then I said dot row to get the row number till where you have the data. So just checking by having with the help of message box, I will put him one message box, and in this message box, let's put this variable name. Okay. Now just run it. Now you see that you have a data in only one row. If I click on add, it will display one. Let me just save as it is. Now let's click on again add. So now you see you're having two. Why? Because the data, you have data in which rows? Row 1 and row 2 means you have the data in two rows. That's where 2. Now if I click on save and then again I click on add, it will become 3. Fine. I hope this clears. Let's go to the code back. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now this line is basically one of the same thing which this was doing. In this one, what I am doing, in this also I'm doing that worksheet.function.count. I'm using a count a function of worksheet function and saying that sheets of employee details. Now here I have to mention the, I can't mention sheet one. I can have to mention the name of the sheet, like employee details dot range of A to A. Here what I'm doing, I'm counting number of rows which have data, considering which row, considering this range, this thing, considering this cell, of course. Okay, so I hope this also clear to you. Fine. This thing and this thing is one of the same thing. It will return you the row number, the last row number where you have the data. Now then what I'm doing, let's uncomment this message box. Then in one variable cell name, I'm putting a and I'm concatenating whatever we have in this. Of course, for the first time it will be 1. So it becomes a1 here. Then I'm checking is empty range here. What is in cell name? A1. Isn't A1 is empty or not? If it's empty, it will be true. If it's not, it will be false. For the first time, it is not false, empty, because you have some data there. Now then I'm checking is numeric. Again here what will be? It's A1. Now I'm checking is A1 is numeric. No. Why? Because the first time in A1 you have employee code. Of course, it is not empty, so it becomes false. Now, employee code is in text. It is a string format. It is not numeric. So of course, again the second becomes false. So both of these becomes false. Is empty and is numeric. So for the first time, this if condition runs is, now I'm checking here, like cell empty is false, yes. Cell numeric is false, yes. So what I will be done automatically in this employee code, EMP code, what should be displayed? One should be displayed. Fine. Okay. Right. Okay. Now, before taking else part, let's first run this. I click on add. Of course, for the first time, the row which contains data is only first row. So you get 1 here. I stored some information here and click on save. Fine. Now when I click on add once again, the second time, it shows 2 here. Why? Because currently now you have data in 2 rows, 1 and 2. Okay, for the first time it was clear why 1 was stored in EMP code. Now for the next time, what happened when you click after adding one record, you have again click on add, then this code returns what? 2. Why? Because now you have data till row 2. Okay, now A2, here it becomes 2. So now in A it checks is A2 is empty or is A2 is numeric. Now is A2 is empty? No, it is not empty. Again it was false. But is A2 is numeric? Yes, it becomes true. So this condition becomes false. So you go to else part. Now in else part, what you're checking? Same again. This the last row. You're getting the last row where you have the data. Now what is the last row? Of course, row 2. So in EMP code, you're storing a value 2, and then in EMP code.val, in this text box, you're storing the value 2 there. Fine, got it. Now this code can be done in this way also. Okay, here what I am doing, I'm saying that one of the variable employee code is equal to, I'm converting these things into integer format. Okay, and then adding 1. Now what this code does, I think sheets of sheet name, again here I have to give the name of the sheet. I can't say sheet 1 or sheet 2. Whatever the sheet name I have given, that I have to define. Like for example, I have defined this sheet name is, here is employee details. Okay, so employee details dot range, I'm taking a column and then saying row dot counts. Now what this function does, basically, take an example. You know that in an Excel you have 10,000 something rows. So take an example, this was a 10,000 rows. So with the help of that code, with the help of this code, taking column A as your fig, considering that column A, you moved your cursor till here. Fine. Now, but you have data till where? You have data till this cell, but you move to the last row of column A. Then, with the help of this, what are you doing? You're moving, or you can say you are selecting this cell. Okay, fine. And then you're taking the value, whatever the value is there in this cell, you're taking that value and then adding 1 to it, and then storing the value in EMP code val. Okay, now let's see the coding of save, so that you, whatever you have entered in those text boxes on those fields in that form, that can be saved in the sheet of Excel. Now here I've done what in save. Again, the name of the save button is save, and it's click event. Under its click event, I'm defining a variable emp type as string type, and then in the if, I mention all these code. Basically, all this code should be run when this is true. Okay. Now, what I'm doing there here is, I'm mentioning empty row number is equal to, again the same thing. What we have done this to get the last row where you have the data. Okay. So now the last row where you have the data, for the first time it will be 1, for the next time it will be 2, and so on. Okay. Then adding one more. Why? Now, of course, with the help of that function, what is done? With the help of this function, you get the last row. For the first time, the last row is what? Of course, this heading. When you added one record, the last row will return this. So, what is the row number? 2. But you can't override these informations now. You have to enter the data into a blank row, that is this, as of now. Now if you have data here also, then in this row, and so on. So that's why I've add 1 to it. Fine. Now this can be done with the help of this function. Here also what I'm doing, I'm using count a function of worksheet. Under that I'm mentioning sheet. Again in this I have to mention the sheet name. Of course, sheet name is this employee details dot range. I have considered a column as in range. So with the help of this, you will get the last row where you have data considering cell A, and then adding 1 into it. Okay. Now, then I say sheets of this employee details dot cells. Now, of course, this sheet, this cell or this cell, whichever cell. Now, comma, say for example, as of now, I have one record and one heading. That means this returns 2 to me, and then plus 1 becomes 3. So, under cell row number 3, column number 1, what should be the value? The value of what should be written here, or what should be pasted here, you can say, should be what? Whatever was that in EMP code val. Okay. Similarly, again, sheets of employee detail, cells 3. Of course, this is 3 comma 2. Now 3 comma 2 is what? 3 comma 2 is this. Whatever is in EMP name. Similarly for DBT and so on. Now, just to remember one thing, for option button, you have to first check like this. For these option buttons, you have to check like this, in this way, that if full type dot value means if that option is selected, then under this variable I store this text. Else if part time dot value was selected, then in EMP type part time should be there, fine, and so on. Else nothing should be there. If nothing was selected, then NA should be displayed in EMP type. And then you're saying that sheets of employee details, the name of the sheet dot cell of course this was 3 first of this time, 3 comma 4 dot value should be whatever in EMP type, fine. And then you're saying that EM save button active equal to false, so that once the save button is clicked, again the save button active becomes false. So if a person click one save and then again click on save, nothing should be happen. Now, clear? Got it? I hope this clears to you. In next part, we'll see more things like how to search an existing record, or how to delete an or existing records. If you like my video, please like and subscribe my channel. Take care. Bye bye.